Because you know what? I was trying to tell a young person one day. I said, now, if you think about how you had to learn how to build these levees.
Right.
How to know when to flood the fields.
Yes, ma'am.
How to know when to dry
them out.
How to thresh the rice.
That's right.
How to store it.
Yes, ma'am.
And it not mold.
Mold or anything.
And get it to market.
Absolutely. All that.
Now that's a genius.
Yes. Yes.
So why would you think that's not something to be proud of? And when, you know, you walk the cemetery, and I like to read the gravestones because when you look and see somebody that was born in 18 so and so and so, that person put a lot of labor into
oh yeah.
He had to put in a lot of free labor.
Yes, ma'am.
But out of that free labor, those people became big landowners.
Yes, ma'am.
Important people.
That's right. That's right. They made something of themselves, as the elders used to say.
Right.
Make something of yourself. Yes, ma'am.
And we can't figure out how to do it.
But we have all the story right there.
Resources.
You got all the resources.
But we can't do it.
We can do it. But do we choose to do it? Now, one of the factors is when your story is not told. Like, that's why I think this is so significant, what you and the others in the Citizens Council have done in terms of standing up, first of all. Because a lot of people fall back. They don't stand up. They stand up and say, we want our area protected. That you didn't just let others come in. Because I see now it's Rice Hope being built in one spot on the gate. The gate says Rice Hope, and then another one says Rice something else. Rice Creek on the opposite side of the road. So instead of just sitting there and saying, oh well, this is it.
But see, the first phase of development was right in here.
Where you live.
We are. Just like the lady was talking the other night, and she was talking to different little communities that live together, and everybody was a part of one another. Right. She said, but when they put the highway through,
it split
everyone. It split us up. The livelihood is gone. Right. And see, I remember as a child, we used to go over to Palmetto Bluff and fish.
Oh, yes.
But now everything is gated.
Right. So you can't even get in there.
But our young folk need to realize that. Now, you gotta give me a minute. My voice go. No problem. On the 10th of next month, we're gonna dedicate a marker to this church.
Oh, really?
And hopefully, I got to talk with Hugh Golson. We're going to go back, after we dedicate the marker, to the site of the original church. Down by the river. All right. In the area where slaves were first snuck into Georgia. Because, you know, for a long time, slaves were forbidden in Georgia.
In Georgia, exactly. The charter for the formation of Georgia forbid slavery.
That's right.
Right. And lawyers.
But when time got tight.
Oh, yeah.
And you start losing your property and your livelihood. Okay,
they joined on in with
let's bring them on in. And I'm just finishing up the history on our church.
Now, what's the name of your church?
Richmond Baptist Church.
Richmond Baptist Church. So when was it founded?
Well, it was organized in 1897.
All right.
But it operated as a praise house before it was organized.
It was built. Right.
And we went back and researched with E.K. Love from the First African Church in Savannah. All these churches out here were under First African Baptist Church. And then after Reverend Lyle had to leave with the British, Reverend Bryant didn't keep up with the praise houses. Right. The praise houses, he said, either join in with one another or just disband. But when William Campbell became the pastor of First African, he wanted to know where they were. Because he said there was approximately 14. And they're still scattered around here. They just need to be identified. Right. And we got 4 right here in this neighborhood.
Is that right?
Each plantation
had their
own church.
Right. That all most likely grew out of Praise House, as you mentioned, which is the same thing up and down the Gullah Geechee Nation coast, from Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida. Every community had its own Praise House that generally started out as a bush arbor, a brush arbor. Became a Praise House and then came to be the churches. Now, in terms of basically it's a museum now. The Praise House is going to be a museum. When you first started off really trying to get the community together to rally behind saving the building and keeping the land and the burial area and everything there, what was your vision then, and what is your vision for the future for it now that this place is open?
The vision has not changed. The dead is just as important as the living. The dead is the only way we're going to find out what happened before we came along. I was always taught, my mother was from both my parents were from South Carolina.
What about South Carolina?
My mother was from Aiken.
Aiken, all right.
And my father was from Bamberg and Fairfax, in that area. So we were always taught to respect the dead.
Yes.
And the area had gotten to the place that the building was sinking, the cemetery had timber in it, so it was just a loss of respect. And now that we have it where it'll be something that's viable in the community for many, many years, I think it'll prove to be worth the effort. And then, you know, another thing that was interesting when I was talking about Silver Bluff. In order to do the history of my church, Richmond, I had to go all the way back to Silver Bluff
to find information.
To get started, Reverend Lau. And like Dr. Brooks said, Walter Brooks, he didn't have the type of history that he would have liked to have. But we had to go on oral history.
Absolutely. Right.
And when my mama used to tell me how they came from Aiken through North Augusta to Drakey Plantation, and then reading Reverend Brooks' book, and reading about Reverend Lau, same path. Same
Dynamic.
path. That was the same path Reverend Lau took.
Coming.
When he came down.
Back and forth.
The same path that Andrew Cox Marshall from Keokee, Georgia.
All right.
When he came down. Andrew Bryan's nephew. So these are all the same people.
Yes. And so you've been walking in their path.
Same people.
Yes.
You've been that jail.
Outstanding. Thank you, ma'am.